Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our midweek review, where we kind of take a look at any tickers or any trades that you guys are taking or planning to take this week. Um, as a quick disclaimer, anything you see in this video is not financial advice. It's merely for educational purposes. Uh, and with that, let's begin. Anybody have any tickers you want me to look at? Don't be shy, bro. How did I know you were gonna ask me that?
That's
All right. You asked a question. Now, what are we looking at? Upside, downside? Are you in a position? Are you managing a position? Planning to be in one? You're in calls. Okay. What's your strike price? Tell me a little bit more. 64. Expiring this Friday. Okay. That changes things a little bit. Um, so it has been a bit overextended for the last since the earnings. It's been just on a constant run up here. I haven't seen any significant pullbacks on it just yet. Um, remember last looking at it recently, we did support over this 54 level. Remember us looking at that as like the previous um rejection near the earnings cycle last time. So we supported off of it this past week after um rejecting off of it all of last week. We actually gapped up over it this week. So you only really have a few days left, and the next major resistance I have on it is 66. Um, you're almost pretty much at all-time highs because if you see here, the only time we've really been any higher than this um was, I'm assuming this is some type of news related pump that happened here and it immediately retraced. So we haven't had any significant price action that actually took place in this time above 66. We did have a little bit of rejection near what pre-market levels, I guess. After the gap up, we rejected, tried to retest that area and rejected again. You only have a few days left, and I'm sure the longer that you hold out this position, especially with today's expiry, although you're in the money, or you no, actually you're not in the money. You're out of the money. 64, right? So the longer you hold out now, I'm sure your break even at this point is probably somewhere around 67, 68. You could potentially hold out for the news in the morning to see if we have a huge pump. It might just bring the overall market up quite a bit. But you really don't have much time left on the contract to really be waiting. What is it? 2 more days till expiry. Because by the time tomorrow hits Thursday, you're probably looking at like uh price action to be near like 68 for you to even begin to start to see profit. And ticker really doesn't do too much. I mean, too much price. What's it called? Doesn't do too much movements throughout the day. It usually just has an early morning push and then consolidate, morning pump, consolidate. It really just takes place earlier in the morning. So after our PPI data tomorrow, if it's not too good, it might you might see a little bit of a pullback. If it's fairly decent, you might get a retest near the 64 area. I'll push up towards here. That can be your cue to exit. Because to really hold out for another day probably wouldn't be the wisest decision. You'd always look for a re-entry on a reload. Um, that's a that's a possibility. But like I said, you only really have 2 days left. And with your expiry closing in like this, it just makes the move even greater. That is needed for you to start to see profit. So I guess your question is, should I sell? Hopefully, I answered that. I would look to see how this news comes out this morning, and then
What
assess from
was
there.
the kicker's move?
Next question is a. If this is a penny
What was
stock,
the kicker?
It was him. It was
okay,
him.
it's
It's
not
a
okay. It's
Him.
not.
Okay.
So you took a starter position on. So you have about, was it 2 weeks almost? 3 weeks? Two, three, about, yeah, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So you took a position about a month out for a $20 call near pretty much where the 200 daily moving average is currently. Any particular reason you jumped into this? Um, I'm not too sure on the backgrounds of this stock. I mean, it did have earnings recently, but it was trading at $9 just the other day, and it just had this random pump. I guess I'm assuming off of earnings. Do you know have any background on the stock? I'm not too familiar with it.
I used to trade this as a penny stock long time
It's
back. I remember the name.
just a
I'm sorry.
telecommunications company. They're nothing special. I just saw how it started to break the downtrend resistance. It had a nice, good, strong earnings reaction. Kind of expect it maybe to flag over the next
Are
couple of
you
days
you have a
and to
starter
see what
position,
happens.
right?
Yeah, just I think one so far. You know what I mean? I wasn't gonna get
Not
too deep
you're not
into it. I
pretty
just
heavy into it, are you, Joshua?
no.
Just a starter. Are you looking to add into your position? I mean,
Well, over the next couple of days, we'll see what happens. If it starts to kind of go my way, then yeah. If it looks like it's going to go the other way, then obviously I'm going to cut it pretty quick.
no, no, for sure, yeah, because I don't know what the like, I guess the like any too much background on the stock, so I don't know if the how far the potential for it is. I mean, they did have a pump a little while ago, but it just has fizzled off completely. Um, the only thing I'm looking at here is first we finally got a push over. So we started to have like a true trend starting to build up, not just when we had the five crossover the 20, but when we just had price action that maintained over the 20 daily moving average, showing me signs of like a short-term trend building up to the outside. Following earnings, we had a push that led us to recapture the 50. I think at that point, anyone who was not already in a call for earnings could have potentially, depending on what the news is, what the projections is for the company, um, could have possibly took a starter position here. Could explain why we have the run up here, but ideally, I would think the target would have been the 200, um 200 simple moving average, which we did get a tag, and then this morning we had a rejection off of it. So, I mean, is it possible to have a second attempt to touch it? For sure. But if you do want to consider adding to your position, I would definitely want to see a break over the 200 and continue to like hold up for not just a single
Yeah,
day, because
correct.
it's not a, a mega cap or uh popular ticker, at least because I'm not too familiar with it. I would at least wait for price action to maintain itself over. I mean, you have 4 weeks on your contract, so at least a week of price action that's over the 200, or even if it's like the 200 is like here and price action, it keeps hovering over it, goes over it, goes below it, and it's just kind of gravitating towards it, similar to what happened here with the 20 here, where we kind of gravitated towards it, supported off of it. First we had the push. Once we had momentum building up, we had the push, support over it, slight look below, but we still gravitated near the five, maintained price action over. Eventually, we had a little push. I'm assuming just before earnings. Um, just a quick dump out of it because of uncertainty. We had the retest post earnings. We're still testing the 20, and we continue to push up, and that's about about a week or so of price action. So I would want to see us reclaim the 200 at that point, and it doesn't have to remain over it. I just don't want it to, I don't want us to leave it too much, right? So right now we have our 5, our short-term trend starting to cross over not only the 20, our 50 as well. And your 50 is going to be your more medium to long-term trend. And since you're kind of in a call that's near the 200, you want to make sure that price action at least hugs the 5 as much as possible, because you don't have much time on your contract to see a pullback and a
Yeah.
retest of the 50. You don't have that much time
Yeah,
left.
I should have went another month out. That's what that's kind of I didn't want to ask the question without I didn't want to lead you in a direction. I wanted to see where you went with it. And I
Okay,
think that I should have gone 60 days instead of 30. Is just kind of I think my feeling looking back on it now.
maybe a little longer out. Well, I mean, it's not all hope is not lost, right? It's like now we're starting to get the 5 catch up, right? With this push down, we're probably gonna have the 5 open up even a little bit higher, somewhere around the 18 mark, at open tomorrow. So if we can maintain price action at least over the 5, while we have while we have the 5-day, your short-term trend still over our medium to long-term trend line, that could be a good solid support. So you just want to make sure price action remains above it. And like I said, if we start to close over the 200 here, and even if we're hovering over it, you can consider either well, your position is a little close, but I would consider maybe adding to a longer dated contract if you truly feel that this stock has more potential. That's
Yeah.
something that I would consider.
Well, I
Especially
caught
like
it.
I said, it doesn't even
Yeah,
need to. It doesn't even need to like hold over. As long as it just kind of hugs it, everything else will start to catch up.
I got you. I got in after the flush today. Like I almost caught near the bottom of the flush. So as it moved back up during the day, I'm already in the. You know what I mean? I'm already up, so I'm not concerned.
Well, there after we broke above the 50 here post earnings and had that run up here, there was a little bit of a thin structure on the way up here. And
Uh-huh.
then we just kind of had you could I guess consider it more of a bull flag breakout here, right? After our push up, we had a small pullback or like sell off towards the end of the day, and then we reloaded the next day. Um, and then with this major pullback right before the morning opened up here, we still ended up not breaking over those highs. So I don't think all is lost just yet. Um, we're still over those swing highs. Price kind of respected that. I think it's waiting at least for that 5 to catch up. Maybe you get a retest there. A retest and failure there would probably lead me a little bit more wary for an upside. Because what could possibly be taking place is now a retest of the 50, and then that's where you're gonna get
Right.
that 60 days wait time, right? Or like longer
Right.
dated wait time. So as long as once this 5 starts to catch up, as long as we're supporting at it and we don't break underneath it, um, well, like at least with heavy volume, right? So we don't get like a flush like this where it breaks underneath and rejects off of it. I think you should still be fine. Especially if we're not breaking other swing highs. If you just want to get specifics on numbers, I guess you can just say 19, but I'm sure you probably have all your levels placed out already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah. I got up at 22.14 and then 23.66 and then on. Yeah. I mapped it out already.
Yeah, I figured you had your levels ready. But yeah, that's probably my thesis on that. It's like at least now we have
Gotcha.
it's such a bullish push up, right? That we have our 5 catching up so soon to price action. A retest here is going to maintain that short-term uptrend that's still there, while we're still, I guess you could say, overall bullish because we're over the 20, we're over the 50. I wouldn't say long term like a year 2 years out because we're not over the 200 yet, but at least like short to medium term, we're definitely bullish. Now for us to retest
Yeah,
that.
and then the eight went over the 20. That was another indicator I kind of used as well.
Okay.
Like when the eight crosses over the 20, that's
Eh,
kind of a
That's your go-to EMA or SMA?
yeah. It's not a go to. I wouldn't. It's just a yeah. The EMA is it's not a go to, but it's an indicator that I also use in conjunction with.
I
Like I
mean,
said, when it popped
it's
up
not a
over
bad
with the
idea.
earnings, it kind of broke its downtrend resistance.
It had a massive push up. Smooth, do me a favor. Pull
Yes,
the
sir.
chart to a daily chart. I just want you to be aware of one thing, Joshua, here. Like, if you can just zoom in a bit,
Oh, and a
zoom
bit.
in.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see like volume is decreasing, right? That's something I'd be very alarmed about here. Okay,
Okay.
like your price is going up, but you'll see like after the
Yeah.
earnings there was a massive push, but your volume is decreasing. That's something that will make me a bit wary here. That's one. But good that you got in pretty much at the flush of today. I would be like quite a bit conservative about
I was
adding to this
dessert.
position at all. Okay, unless like you really start making the 200 EMA a base above. Okay, you start basing above your 200 EMA. I posted a chart for you also in the chart chat. Okay, like the $20 or the 200 EMA, I need to start basing above it before adding to a position if I was taking this play. Okay, but for now, like just hold on to it and let's see what happens. Okay, let's hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with it.
Alrighty. Any other questions from anybody else? But anytime you're taking like a swing contracts like that, Josh, that five moving daily moving average on the the five moving average on the daily is going to be a
Yeah. The
really
TMA.
good current like trend that's happening right now. And the moment price action catches up to it, then that's when you either have a continuation, right? So usually after a bull trend, we have the five that catches up. Once the five catches up, you can see it here earlier where we have the five finally catching up. We kind of hovered near it, and then I guess earnings pushed us over, but we had recaptured the five and pushed up. So we could either do the same thing where we recapture the five, even if it turns into some short-term resistance, but we're still hovering near it, and we're still on a current uptrend. But the moment we start breaking out underneath it, and it becomes repeated rejections, like how it's here, repeated rejections, every uptrend gets slapped by it pretty much.
Right.
That's when you should be worried. But I always use on any huge uptrend like this when we start seeing our moving averages cross here, like where we have our 20, our definitely our 20 at least, curling sloping up in the way that it is right now, right? It's not just like slowly coming up. It has a pretty steep curve up. You want to make sure that we at least capture the short term trend on a swing. It's my it's always my go-to. Any other questions from anybody else? Drop your tickers, drop your tickers. Don't be shy. All right, I'll start picking on people. Not, I'll run away. Drop your questions. What was your plan? Was by today?
Hey, yo, what up,
Yes.
Smoove?
What's up? What's up?
Um, see, I got into a play that the FF bot called out, or the FF options.
Okay.
Which one did you play?
Um, I'm in the net and the pep.
Okay. And it
Um,
did you take
yeah,
profits?
huh?
Anna, did you take profits?
Um, no,
Why?
because I got into it today,
Hmm.
and I had already cashed out my other one. On this one only had like a couple $100 in this account. It's my Weeble one,
Hmm.
and so I would have got one of those warnings for
Day
using
trading.
money that isn't settled yet.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I was like, I'll let it. I figured, and then I just got into it today, so I wasn't trying to get out in one day. I thought it might do better. I mean, I thought it might
Okay.
do better. So.
All right. So, Annette, if you look at the chart, like we got in pretty much at tail end of yesterday. Okay, in the second half. We got time on our hand. Like it's like 1 week we still have it. Okay. Like straight, I'm calculating from next week onwards. So we have about 1 week on hand on those contracts. But
Yeah,
the thing is, like, what you always need to remember, okay, these are the 23rd contracts, right, on Anet. Okay.
yeah,
What you need to remember is like, if you see profits, brother, you have to
yeah.
take profits. Make it a rule.
Well, I have been like I've been green for like the last week straight,
Mhm.
but
Okay. All right.
this
So
is this
Anet
is more
is,
of a yeah. But I really didn't want to take it. I saw it go up really good from when I bought it. Except
mhm,
it cost me like $1.47,
mhm.
and
You got a
and
better
I
price than me.
but yeah but the money hadn't settled yet. But in
Hmm.
my other account, I had a couple of them, and I did sell them. Yes,
Hmm.
and also
Excellent.
um yeah, the only one that I did a couple of rinse and repeats on Master,
Hmm.
Microsoft, um, you know, and that's been working out pretty good. But I was just wondering where you think this one might go with all, or you think it already went?
Nope. It has absolutely. Look at the chart on the daily. Smooth. Change the chart to a daily for Anet. It is absolutely a bullish chart. Okay. I mean, like,
Most
there is nothing in it that is telling you this is not a bullish chart. Okay.
I see that
It's
now.
a
Yeah.
very, very bullish chart if you look at the daily. Okay. If you go to a shorter term, you will see this is even more bullish. Okay. Based on what we took it. Now,
Right.
the uptrend is simply not going away. Okay. We just had an earnings push massively. It is going up. Okay, my target was like 100 was actually where I was targeting. That's why you can see the number as 100. Now,
Okay.
if you look at the chart, if we break 100, go to
Yeah.
like 18th February and 19th February's move, there's a gap. Do you see on the daily?
of this
So.
February,
And 19th February, there's a nice little gap there. Okay,
right
Yeah, I
that
here.
see it. I see it.
is a very nice feel. It may or may not happen, right? But if it happens, that's a very nice place for a target. If the uptrend continues, at least the lower level of that box, that's what our first grab should be. Okay. But if you see profits, take it. 40% was a decent amount to take on it.
Oh yeah, I did good on it. I did
Yeah.
real good on it. I got in
Okay.
at like 147 on my
Mm-hmm.
140, 147, and then at
Mm-hmm.
one point I was down a little, but I saw that I looked at the chart and I was like, okay, so I grabbed one more at like I think it went down to like $1.20 or $1.25 today
Mm-hmm.
before it shot right back up.
Mm-hmm.
So I sold all three of those at 200 plus.
Yep. Okay. That's excellent. Okay. That's
Now
there.
who call do you call those out, Moin? Is that you? Or is that the bot? There's no way that's a bot. That's you?
Let's leave that question to what it is. Okay. We got some very interesting people over here. I am very glad to see. Okay. I want to have them scratching their head thinking like how we take these trades and how they keep on faking and they cannot take those trades ever.
I
Okay.
yeah, those are great ones, man.
Thank you.
I
Tell me
yeah,
the logic for Pepsi. Okay.
I
Smooth,
am.
you're not
I'm in
allowed to speak. Tell me the logic for Pepsi. You can just bring up the charts, Smooth, but you're not allowed to speak.
the logic. Okay, off the chart.
Yep.
Um,
What was your logic of taking this trade?
That the bot called it out.
I'm gonna kill you, seriously. I
Boy,
need you to be like
I
my brother Joshua.
no,
Whatever
I won't.
anyone says, don't give a damn. Look at the chart and make your own analysis. If you lose, lose on your own what you call
No, no, I
own
definitely
judgment.
order filled.
What you see in the Pepsi chart, tell me. Is it me or like I lost audio? Which one?
No, he muted. Don't be shy.
Okay. Yeah. Like, what was the logic? Why do you think we took Pepsi? Jude, if you're wrong, it's perfectly fine to be wrong, brother. Don't worry.
Nobody likes Pepsi. Everybody loves Coke. That's why.
I'll take a blind test on you. Do you think you can really distinguish which is Pepsi and which is Coke?
Yes,
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Zero
There's like
chance
a
you can
clear
tell.
different flavor.
Yeah, Pepsi is yeah, it's just too
More
much.
sweetish. More sweet, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you guys know a funny thing? The taste of Coke varies actually as you go from west to east.
That's because of corn syrup.
Altitude.
No, it's because of corn syrup being used, especially in the U.S. Actually, that's why there's such a huge difference in the Mexico Coke that you get, which is the one that comes in the glass bottle. If you try tasting that, that is actually sugar based. That's cane sugar actually in it.
It's a whole
So it
different.
is
That one's
very,
better.
yeah, it's so much better, and that's what they use in the East as well. The whole place. The other thing you'll realize is the Coke is different for every provider that's there, or for every recipient. Like the big recipient, like McDonald's has a significantly different Coke than what you get. It just tastes different. Try it someday.
They ship that in a metal container, in a special metal containers for McDonald's. I know that. Fact, and
There's a
that's
different recipe. There's a slightly different recipe for Coke for McDonald's, for example, than what they give out in the market. So it's very interesting.
All right, let's get back to the Pepsi chart, please, gentlemen. Okay. The only reason for looking at Pepsi, if you look at the chart that Smoove just pulled up, it is on an absolute downtrend. Okay. There is nothing that is showing you that this thing is recovering anywhere. Like if you look at the daily, I know Smoove doesn't use the shorter term EMAs. Okay, if you had a 9 or 10 EMA on it or 8 EMA, whatever, you will see it's just hugging the EMA and literally like taking a dive. Okay, now from there, if you go to a weekly chart, you will see like the critical level for Pepsi was around this $130 region, which it just broke through. Okay, on a weekly chart. Yeah, squeeze a little bit more, you can say it. After this thing literally doesn't have anything till 126 to 125. Okay, that's what I would be looking to get out. Like around 126. I know we have time. 126 to 125 is actually where I'm targeting. But if this flushes, this is gonna flush pretty big. Okay, because if that breaks, your next level is way too far below. Okay, on a weekly chart. The next level you have is literally the 120-ish. Till then, you don't have anything to hold this. Okay, so that was the whole logic of taking it. It's a pretty simple decision that you look at it and that. Okay, and the other thing is, if you notice, the dividends are coming up on 6th June. So typically what happens, if you're holding a stock, sometimes you'll hold the stock and as a date gets near, you hold a stock to get that dividend, right? You have to be on the books to be recorded for that particular date. So as that date gets closer, and if you look at their historical dividends, their dividends have been increasing. Some people will hold it till then, but then they will let it go, right? That will create another flush of price. So that was the whole logic of taking this trade. Does it make sense? I mean, like my perspective of this trade. Questions? Feel free to ask. I think Jude is back with us. Jude,
Yeah.
were you there when I explained the Pepsi logic?
No, I've my
Okay,
son called and we have a day
no
coming up.
worries. No worries. Okay. Smoove, can you just pull up
Yeah.
the chart first to daily? Okay.
Sorry, I logged this so it wouldn't stay shut. Stay shut.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah. Right. All right. I'm staying out. I'm going up where I have a little less distractions. Oh, but no computer. Fuck. Sorry, all my kids just got home at the same time.
No worries. Okay. With Pepsi, the logic
All
was
right.
shoot very simple. Like if you look at the daily chart, it's on absolute bender.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
This thing is just dumping. Nothing is telling you like this thing is making a turn for the higher side.
Right.
Okay, number one. Number two, if you go to a weekly chart on this, just like we were discussing,
Yeah.
look at the level. You already broke one critical level, the 130-ish, right? And
Right.
after that, okay,
It
that
goes
level was there
right.
from like December 2020. Okay, like almost 5 years, 4 years back. So after you broke that, if you look at the next one, the next significant level is actually 120-ish. You don't have anything in between to support this.
Thanks.
Okay, so that was the main thing that we were looking at.
I like. I like.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I
You know,
will
you
start
want to know
taking
what?
profits around 125, 126.
Okay. You know what drew me to it is for the past few years as well. I mean, I looked at the chart and then just knowing
Hmm.
that when you go to any store or any restaurant or whatever, you have to it's 90% Coke products. So it's like Pepsi's definitely gonna be dropping.
That's interesting. I didn't think that far.
Well, I
Do
used to
you,
drink.
oh,
I stopped drinking Pepsi and Coke, but I used to be a Pepsi. I used to love Pepsi, and so
Okay.
when I asked for Sprite or
Hmm.
um, it's no one have sorry. I was like, oh, of course, should have known. But then Coke also got yeah, Coke's been getting a lot of the big ones like
Hmm.
Armor Body and some other ones, and Pepsi hasn't been doing shit.
Fanta
And
is
that's
whose
from
brand?
you what?
Fanta belongs to whom? Coke or Pepsi?
I think it's Coke.
Okay, then it's good because I drink Fanta.
Yeah, I think it's Coke. Like literally, Coke has got most of the contracts for everything the past
Hmm.
5 years.
That's a
So I
very
mean, just looking
interesting
at
take.
that, well, just looking
Okay.
at that chart just really reinforced what I'm seeing because it takes a couple years for it to show up in the market. Or takes some usually takes a little bit of time, but I don't see it recovering anytime soon.
Hmm.
I don't see any earnings calls that are going to be good. I think they're going
well,
down just from
earnings doesn't matter on it's a defensive stock. So if anything, the worse earnings is, the more people will buy because they want to buy it as cheap as possible.
right,
So
and it's been
it's a
around for a long
forever
time.
company, and you're getting like it. If I'm
Yeah,
not
that's why I feel
mistaken,
like
I believe Pepsi has increased their dividends. They have the highest increasing dividend per stock like historically, if I'm not mistaken. Like they're consistently
okay.
like their dividend payout is consistently growing like no other company.
I just feel
So
like with
more
my
people
kids and
want to
all that,
buy it,
they
the lower it is.
Coke. Yeah, with the young generation, it's all yeah, I don't see any of them drinking Coke. I mean Pepsi. I see them all drinking Coke. Even my daughter, Diet Coke. The kids, you know. So that's what I mean by popularity. But yeah.
But on the other hand,
See,
Pepsi
but
is
they
brand
don't
new
just
to the
own,
market.
they don't just like,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Right.
make drinks,
Oh
right?
yeah.
They
They have.
own like
Oh yeah.
several
But
other brands. Like they own Lay's,
like
which is
Restaurants,
a
yeah,
pretty
yes,
huge.
I thought
restaurants
they had
and
like
all of that.
craft
Their
or
business
something
is more
too.
diversified.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
They
yeah.
earn, yeah, they own sports teams, stuff like that. Like millions and
So like
billions of
right.
dollars come in.
I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking the other, just the
Long
Pepsi
term, it's
thing.
a very good hold. Honestly, long term, it's a very good hold. If you want to have it in a long term portfolio, it's a very good decision
Yeah,
because
I
it's a very
have
diversified
I
business.
have
even
a few
beverage
shares of
standpoint,
this. As the more it goes down, the more I would like to buy. I mean, it's if I buy now, it's still not going to be good. My shares are all the way down
So you drink
here.
Coke or you drink Pepsi?
at the end.
Me? Coke.
Mm,
Neither. I'm a
Even
Dr. Pepper
very
man.
bad, very bad, man.
Dr.
even
Pepper kind of guy.
standpoint, while Pepsi is smaller in North America, it is huge in Asia.
Yes,
You
very,
Oh
realize
very.
that
They're
yeah.
like their go-to.
Yeah.
is very equally
Right. It's
distributed.
global.
Not a little bit in favor for Pepsi actually. I don't know why that is, and it's slightly changed over the last couple of years, maybe. But Pepsi is still a pretty dominant force throughout Asia, more so than anywhere else. So apart from everything else, even from a beverage standpoint, they're still a pretty big force to reckon with. The water part of it, there's a huge subsection of water just that they dominate absolutely. Uh, so that's a huge thing in itself as well. Just drinking water.
Also, um, here without looking at any technicals, or anything else particular, and doesn't matter what Pepsi news is, doesn't matter anything like that. This is your best piece of knowledge. Spy go up, Pepsi go down. It's just simple as that. This is a defensive stock. The more fear right now, the market has from the beginning of April, we have recovered out of extreme fear. And well, actually, towards the end of April, right? We're in extreme fear, meaning people were afraid to buy, right? Usually,
Right.
there's a few phases that happen, right? So we start to move out of extreme fear, and we're just in like regular fear. Then we kind of bounce around. Then we start to get into greed a little bit. Right now, we have went from extreme fear to extreme greed. Like we're the what's it called? The market is in, and currently is the status is extreme greed. We're at like 60 or 70%, 70% greed. Like it's considered extreme.
Yeah.
Usually when fear sets in the market, money leaves high risk assets like Nvidia, your Tesla, your Apple, your major tech stocks, because tech has high growth potential, but it's extremely risky. It's a very risky asset because a lot of money gets poured into it, and if results don't show it, it will just flop. So tech is really result driven, and it also needs funding, right? So like when a lot of times what everyone's waiting for is the whether we rate cut or don't rate cut. The reason the hype is for that is because the more that we have rate cuts, the more money that tech companies can borrow to grow their projections, or whatever growth they have or plan to grow in any manner. um they need investors to invest, they need to borrow money and and provide returns on any investment assets. So a
Borrow
lot of the
cheaper.
times when we have extreme fear, the market leaves from, so like right here, this is when Trump was elected, right? We had this huge run up. The moment we started to enter into fear, we just had um it just continued starting to make his way up little by little, right? This is not a tech stock, so it's gonna be choppy, 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 but it just won't lose a support. And then it starts pushing up, and then choppy, choppy. Doesn't matter as long as there's a major support that doesn't get broken. Um, and that tends to happen a lot with defensive stocks because Pepsi is a company that pretty much I would almost say with confidence is never gonna die. So you put your money into longer term companies like Pepsi. If your short term growth stocks like Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, like all these major companies aren't providing you with that growth that you want to exponentially grow your portfolio, you switch to stocks like Pepsi here. You buy it, you continue to buy as it's going down, continue to buy as it goes down. The more shares you have, the more dividends you get. And they have proven year after year after year after decade to be one of the best performing dividend stocks in the market. So
Okay.
a lot of the times when you start seeing this push down here, you could just simply put it as the SPYs go up and Pepsi goes down, Walmart goes down,
Okay.
Coca-Cola goes down. Pretty much have
Gotcha.
most of them here defensive. Coca-Cola, all these companies. So notice how majority of them are red, like a lot of the major ones. These are the major
Yeah.
defensive ones in their sector. And they're pretty much red for the day. And
Okay.
most of them will be red. This is on the daily, right? It shows the daily. Yeah. So that's a part of the reason it's going down, right? We're starting to feel more
Get back in that
confident
groove.
risking more assets. And when we start
That makes a
having
lot
that
of
level
sense.
of confidence, these sort of tickers start to diminish quickly. And this is a perfect time for investors to just keep buying low, right? So like as everything's going down, you're either you can one sell deep in the money calls and just keep getting profits out of that, well, not deep in the money, but deep out of the money calls, or you could just keep selling puts and continue to buy the stock lower and lower and lower until you get it as low as possible, um and then you just get a squeeze back up as price starts to push and work its way up once we leave a bull trend. So you just keep selling puts, and if it fills you, oh well, because you want to get into a high dividends yielding ticker like this for a long term portfolio. So as SPY goes up like this, most likely you want to just keep buying as low as as low as possible. Well, how do you do that without just purchasing assets? You start selling call options, collect the premium on there and the stock, collect the premium and the stock, collect the premium and the stock, all the way down. And you just keep buying the asset and keep buying into the asset. It's a perfect opportunity. It's an ideal situation. It's a win-win. But yeah, no technicals. SPY go up, Pepsi go down.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate the help.
Yep, not a problem.
So which direction are we going tomorrow, Smoke? What did you give the instruction for?
I don't know how. So the thing is, the last time we had data, the market just kind of did whatever it wanted to. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we continue to run up here into OPEX. Try to burn as much puts as possible, because you see that happening a lot, right? Where we keep
2 days
like
more, right?
today or even like
No, 2 days
overall.
more, I said, for OPEX. OPEX is this Friday, right? If
Yes,
I'm
this
not
Friday.
mistaken.
Yes.
Yep.
So like the more, just look at, let's go to the, I'm gonna delete all of this. It's the 5 minute here. Look at like any downtrend, right? What keeps happening is not only just compression, but like we're wearing out um we're wearing out bears as much as possible until the very last second. Like we have a strong support that holds for hours on end. We have a resistance that like breaks and then fails, breaks and then fails, but it never truly holds up at all. It eventually, we rejected a little bit, but we end up just retracing right back to it. Solid support that just keeps exhausting buyers. So a lot of the times going into OpEx, you'll start to see like for last OpEx, it was the opposite was true, right? We had uh, random run-ups, and then we had a dump towards the end there. So the opposite's happening right now, where we're just trying to make sure that we have bulls defending an area and continue to fake out um as many bears as possible to exhaust them. And the best way to do that is to have a support continue to be a bounce area until we decide to let go of that support and let the market go down. So, and
Very
what best
manageable.
time to do it than on an OPEX?
Man, I thought you were gonna say like we're gonna go to 600 tomorrow.
We could, we could, and
Mm,
then just completely go down $10 on Friday. It's very possible.
absolutely. Yep.
Or even
Just
gap
tell us
down on
like,
Monday.
yep. Just tell us like whatever instruction you give to White House, we'll just follow that.
Yeah, but either
At
way,
least for me and Jude,
technicals
both of
has
us
not been
badly want
working
it to
out
reach.
well as with all of this news driven momentum,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like I like what's unusual what's happening, right? We just keep having like a support be defended. Then we have resistances being tested and retested, broken over, and then fell down, but support keeps holding, right? News comes out, we break resistance, create a high, and then once we fail that, start to flush under and just completely destroy that support. So that's very possible. And to have this acceleration to the downside is going to be much easier to see than the push to the upside because it's going to be news driven with a huge push up if it does go up, right? This is just an assumption if it goes up. If it does go up, we're going to have sort of a little bit of a chop. Everyone's going to try to chase it to the upside, and then OPEX going to hit you, and it's going to be an accelerated move to the downside. If that's um, the case tomorrow, right? With like a pump up, but it's clear what's happening. I mean, you keep um stop hunting, right? So you continue to stop hunt, where we have support keeps building out, buyers are puts are either getting entered or calls are being entered near support, and puts are being entered at resistance constantly until one party decides to step in with news driven. And once you get as much run up as you can off of a contract, then that's usually when the dump happens. The market's just making sure there's no new puts being added by continuing to just break over resistance. It happened earlier on Monday, right when we had this push up. We retraced some of the move, did not get that full move. We tested the upper bounds of that area, supported, consolidated for a bit, open down under, get puts all scared, push it, and then we compress until the news comes out. Just have puts getting ready for any more downside, but wait until OPEX do it to the very last second. And they lose hope. On the 4 hour Pepsi, is that a morning star? Oh man, it's been a long time since I looked at a candle stick chart. Morning star. Let's do a quick refresher on that. I don't remember what a morning star looks like, or what does it signify. Well, there's usually a lot of the times with the candlestick patterns, there's the shape of the pattern of the candle, and then there's a pattern that coincides with it. So I usually like to look at it from both sides. So like I'm obviously just on a quick Google here, right? So like a morning star is usually this indecisive kind of candle, but to know that it's a morning star pattern, you first want to see um price action like this where we have um force down like downwards momentum, then we have price kind of settling there, and then we engulf that previous momentum candle. Actually, particularly I guess you could say morning stars are the things that I fear the most because I rush into momentum plays, and the moment that I see price action kind of stall, I'm out because I don't want something like that to happen where we have a large red body candle or a large green body candle stop and then retrace the whole move. Like, no, or the other way around, right? Where it goes down, it stops for a second, and then just retraces the whole move. Uh, So a morning star here. This is technically not a morning star because we didn't get this candle to fill this just yet. I mean, it's still possible. Opening into our next 4 hour range tomorrow to see if we have a push up. But your morning star pattern is not just the pattern, not just the candle itself, right? This is the candle usually is with a small body or no, pretty much no body. It's kind of flat like that. But your key indicator is going to be after either a downtrend or an uptrend. But in this case, the downtrend, you want to see a body candle that kind of retraces that whole momentum. And then once that happens, then you know that there's more upside to it. Yeah, for sure. Every candle that you can think of all has the candle itself doesn't it the only thing it tells you is pretty much the open and the close relative to the rest of price action, but the pattern itself that gives the name for the candle comes from the candles before and after. Usually it's a candle pattern, there's 5 candle patterns and 7. It's all like fib related stuff. 2 candle patterns, but um those are just the only ones that really matter, just engulfing candles. The one that fills it right after a downtrend. Any other questions? Any other questions from anybody else, or I'm gonna run away? We have about 5 minutes. I could take one more question.
I think we're good for tonight. Let's live trade
All right.
tomorrow.